Alright guys, welcome to part 3 on the 1985 Honda 350x. Last video we got this thing running good, and we actually got it to shift, because when we first bought this thing for $1,000 it would not shift and it did not run. So we got it running and shifting, and now we were having problems with the clutch. So the clutch wasn't engaging, and that was no good. We also fixed the tensioner up here. The cam chain was super loose and the tensioner spring was disconnected, so we reconnected that and twisted it up, and now the tensioner is working. You can see the cam chain's nice and tight, so that should help it run a lot better, because it was extremely loose. It was completely loose. So we're lucky it didn't skip time, but we checked that up here. You can see the new gasket material up here. We did check to make sure it was in time, and it was in fact in time. So that left us with the only problem left on this machine, which was the clutch not engaging. Or technically it was engaging. It was like it was pulled in all the time, which is no good. So I did some investigation and I posted some pictures on a forum called the 350x, Honda 350x forum, and those guys led me in the right direction. And after a couple more people posted their pictures of the clutch, I finally found that the problem was this part of the clutch right here. It took me a long time to find this out, but this was the problem. Where is it? Right here. Look how thin that is. That should be, I think, about 4 millimeters, or the same thickness as this one. See how thick that is, that edge on there? Hard to tell, but it's a lot thicker. And this one's like paper thin, and it looks like it was rubbing. You can see the metal, shiny metal on it. It was rubbing, and it like rubbed thin. So that's why the clutch plates seemed loose in there. So I ended up getting a whole new clutch right here off of eBay. I think it was $130 or $140, something like that. But it comes with everything: clutch springs, the clutch basket, the clutch plates. But I'm going to reuse these clutch plates because these plates look really good. So we'll probably use these clutch plates and then the clutch basket and everything for this one. But I'll measure this and compare it for you guys once we open the new one. But without further ado, let's open this one and see what that looks like. It's a used OEM one from eBay, so hopefully it's going to be good. I have not checked it out yet. It came in a couple days ago, but I was working on another project, so I never got to it. But hopefully this is a fix for it. That's pretty sweet. So we will take off the old one, the old clutch basket. Look how nice the basket is too. It's pretty nice. But we'll check over this whole clutch, make sure it's all good, and then compare it to the old one so you guys can see what was wrong with it. Because if I didn't have a picture of an old one, I would have never figured it out. Clutch plates were all in spec, everything was in spec with the old one, and the only thing that wasn't in spec was the one plate, and I'll show you guys that later. Looks like new clutch springs as well. It's pretty cool. Alright, let's see what this plate looks like. So that looks a lot better. These clutch plates are really weird. I don't know if I'm going to use those. They seem very strange. See, look at that edge on this bad boy. Look how thick that is. That's what it was supposed to look like. So we're gonna go get the old one and compare it, because this is the new one. And notice these teeth on here. Notice how they're squared off like that. Then notice this edge right here, how thick that is. Alright, here is the old one. So if we look at a comparison, look at the edge. Look at this one, and look at this one. Look how thin that is compared to that. We'll measure to make sure, but it's gotta be at least 4 times bigger. Which is why the clutch plates were so bad on it. And then, if you look at the teeth on here, see how those have little indents in them? How they're kind of like rounded off. These are nice and square. So I think it was reassembled incorrectly at one point. And then it was put back together like that. Then even these, look at the edge on that thing. Look how much thicker this one is than this one. That's crazy. So it really got worn down. Look at that. So we'll measure the difference and we'll see. We'll measure this one first. This is the old one. See how many millimeters this guy is. About 1 millimeter. That's crazy. And then we'll look at the new one. About 3 millimeters. You guys can see that. So that's a lot of difference. And then for this one, this is the old one. This is the new one right here. It's about 4.5 millimeters. And then the old one, about 2 millimeters. So double there as well. So that should make up a huge difference in the way the clutch works. So I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, that was the problem. So let's get this thing reassembled onto the 3-wheeler here. Get it all bolted up and see if it works. Alright, we'll start with the clutch basket. Get that on there. Get this guy off of there. Needs to slide in, make sure the gears right here are lined up when you put that guy on. And there should be a washer that goes on next, like that. And then we're going to put the old clutch plates on. These look better than the new ones. The new ones are kind of weird looking. I'm sure they're fine, but I already measured the old ones and they are in specs, so. Alright, try to get these all lined up and on here now. We might have to take this off again. And nut on first, actually, so we don't forget about that. The other one looks better. Nut on there. Let's torque down, and then you want to just hammer that a little bit so it doesn't fall off. Alright, now we want to make sure those are good and in the grooves. Alright, springs are going on next. how you go in with that. That is nice and tight. And now you can see the plates don't move in there at all. That's really nice and tight. It's perfect. Now, when we shift it into gear, the clutch should spin when I spin the sprocket. And the whole, yep, so the clutch is spinning. There we go. Now we're in neutral. Perfect. Alright, clutch is reinstalled. Now we just have to get everything back on. Gotta get the cover, and everything will be set to go. Alright, quickly, this is the first idler gear right here. That's gonna go on like that. And there's a washer that goes on right here. And then this is kind of tricky in here. This is the Kickstarter. This is for the decompression right here. So there's a little dot, you can see. That mark has to line up with the mark on the shaft right there, you can see. So once that's lined up, you can put the washer on over that. And what this does is, get this thing out of the way. What this does is pull back on the cable, this cable right here, that's attached to this on the cover, and it pulls this decompression up right here. So that has to be lined up properly, otherwise your decompression mechanism is not going to work. So you want to install the cover by pushing this clockwise, and that will lift that up, and then once you put the cover on, this will go back down like that. So that's kind of how you put the cover on. I had to look it up in the manual, but not too bad. A lot of people mess it up though and break the decompression lever right there. So make sure you put that on right, and then get the new gasket on. Alright, now we just get the bolts all bolted back up, and that will be done. Alright, cover is all back on, clutch is hooked up, it does turn over. And the decompression lever, you can see works up there. So that's working. Got the clutch hooked up, so I think that's working. We'll quick check it and see. Might be kind of hard to spin it with the sprocket on, but let's see. Pulling in the clutch. Might have to get the chain on. I did buy a new chain for it, so let's get that hooked up next. Just have to get the master link on. Hopefully it's the right size here. Let's see. Perfect. Alright, chain is all installed, looking great. Let's just check and see if the clutch works now. We will rotate the engine and see. Alright, I think, is it in gear right now? It's in gear, so there's neutral. See, it rolls easy in neutral. Now we'll push it down first. can see it comes to a stop right there. Now we're going to hold in the clutch and see if it stops. Oh yeah, clutch works. Nice and easy rolling. Clutch out, and it stops again. So the clutch is working perfectly. That is awesome. Now we just have to get the gas tank hooked up, everything else hooked up, and get some oil in it. I'll have to look up how much oil this thing takes. I don't think it says on here anywhere. I'm trying to look for it. But got a new filter in there. So really we just need to add some oil. Alright, we got the gas tank on, the plastics on. Put some gas on the gas tank, and the petcock leaks really bad right from here. And it looks like there's just some rivets holding this thing on. Doesn't have actual screws, so I don't know if we can just take those rivets out and try to make this thing work, or what. It just feels like maybe the gasket is gone in there, or the O-ring. Doesn't feel like there's much resistance. Pretty loose. So we'll have to work at that a little bit, but that kind of sucks. Back here, we got the back plastics on, but I want to take these off again because there's some wiring back here that I want to get done for the back light. So let's get to work on that. Alright, so these two wires just go to the back light right here. We can see one needs to be soldered on right to that peg right there, and then the brown one just needs to be connected to the other brown one right here. So let's quick do that, and then we'll put some oil in this thing. Alright, wiring is all done. Good to go in there, so the backlight should work now. Alright, we got the petcock apart here, and I just ordered a new one since this one was pretty rough, and there's rivets in there, so it doesn't really look like you can take it apart. And if you could, there's no hole on the back, so you can't really screw it down tighter. I'm guessing the inside here is all wrecked. Alright, this thing calls for a little bit over 2 quarts of oil. If you do a brand new engine rebuild, it calls for like 2.4, and if you're just changing the oil, it calls for like a little bit over 2. So we're going to do that. I'm going to be using some 10W40 for wet clutch. Dump that in. I think I tightened the bolt, the oil bolt, hopefully. Alright, let's see what we got. Don't screw it in when you check it, just take it like that. And we're at the top line, so we're perfect. So oil change is good to go. Let's attempt to start this thing up now. Gotta get some gas on the carburetor, and we'll see if it starts up. Alright, we've got some gas on the carburetor. Let's see if she starts up. I don't know if the carburetor needs to be gone through again, but it is not running right. Keeps on cutting in and out. Very strange. Almost like there's something electrical going on. But that banjo bolt's still loose right there. What the heck? We gotta fix that too. So, we're getting close to the first ride, but not quite. Stopped again. So I think I found one of the problems. So the wiring right here, this was a little bit loose. So I messed with the wires in there and I got a better connection. But I'm thinking that's what the problem was, because right when I tightened it up, it started first kick. So I'm thinking that's the case. Let's see if it starts back up here. Alright, so it idles with the choke like halfway on, so I'm guessing something's going on with the carburetor. It could be also that I don't have the air filter in it, so we might hook up the air box and then the air filter. I'm going to have to order an air filter for it. Let me just see what's in here. Maybe there is one. I forgot if there was or not. I don't think there is. No, there's not one. So maybe I'll order up an air filter for it too, and then attempt this again. Because I'm guessing it's starving for fuel a little bit. So we can check out the carburetor too and make sure that the main jets in it are correct. I'm not sure if they are. A lot of people, like I said before, use the 400EX carburetors and it really opens them up a lot more, but not really sure if we're going to do that or not. The banjo bolt right here stopped leaking from the head, so that's awesome. I tightened that up a little bit more and it stopped leaking. No leaking from the clutch cover that we repaired, so that's good as well. It does sound pretty powerful, so definitely has the compression it needs. But yeah, we're just waiting on that petcock now, and then I'm probably going to try and order up an air filter for it before we take it for the first ride. So that'll be in a couple days. Alright, we got the petcock in, so we can install this. Hopefully it fits on there. Alright, let's see what happens here. See if it works. It's not leaking so far. Guess we can get this thing out of the way. Looks like that's working pretty well. Cool. Works great. Then we'll just cut that off. Gotta get a clamp around here. Alright, we got the clamp on. Let's see what happens here. Any leaking happening? Alright, no leaking. New petcock worked. So on to the next thing. We gotta get the air filter box in here. So let's do that, and then we gotta get an air filter attached to it. Alright, air filter box all installed. Looking pretty good. Fit right in there. So we're just missing the air filter now, which I ordered but shouldn't be here until like a week from now. So I think what we're gonna do is test drive it without it. And then I think I've got a 400EX one at my parents' house we can use for it for the time being, because we want to test this thing out. I don't want to wait a week. Alright, running perfectly. The lights work. Lights don't work. Does the rear light work? Doesn't work either. Oh yeah. Alright, so it runs perfect now. I actually ended up taking apart the carburetor to check the main jets, and the main jet is a 138, which is stock. And when I was in there, I found that the needle and the slide were up really high and not coming back down. So I took the slide out, cleaned it up a bit, put it back in, and now it runs perfectly. So that's the problem we were having before. The slide was getting stuck up in the carburetor, and that's why it was idling so sporadically. So that was fixed. And then I took off the sticker in the back right here, the black sticker, if you guys remember what that looked like. You can see all the remnants on the ground. But took that off, and now we're going to pressure wash this thing. You can see it's pretty dirty. Everything is kind of dirty on it, so we're gonna give it a nice cleaning, and it should take it back to looking pretty good. Alright, all pressure wash. You can see the rims cleaned up really nicely. A lot of gunk came off of it. Running pretty good. here we go. First test drive on this thing. Oh no, that's fine. You gotta ride this thing. So much fun. It wheelies so easily. 350x. Really rare. Yeah. Got her going. I had to buy a new clutch for it. And then I fixed the shifter on it too, so. Uh-oh, Chuck touched it and it broke. I don't know why I shut off like that. Alright, here we go, first ride since I picked it up for $1,000. See if it goes. The back brake's a little iffy on it. Can't really stop. Shift's nice. Really hard to turn. Fast. That is awesome. Running. Oh, and it just stopped running. Hopefully we didn't blow her up right there. Let's see if we can pop her. Maybe just ran out of gas. Let's see if I've got it on reserve here. It's on reserve, so I don't know. This thing is fun. We gotta fix the back brake though before we do wheelies or anything, because it's barely working. Boy, it's shifting. That's pretty cool. That is fast. Let's see if Chuck wants to ride it. That's fast. Did it look fast going by? Yeah.
Like a big wheel one.
It's supposed to go 72.
Didn't look like 72. Maybe
No.
like 60.
Well, how fast does the 400EX go? Like 60 something? Yeah. It's supposed to be like right neck and neck with the 400EX. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Alright, first ride went really well. Shift smoothly for $1,000, really can't complain. Clutch is like perfect on it.
Press it down really far.
You do. You have to press down really hard, like really far. Which is kind of hard to do when you're riding it.
Yeah. You gotta like take
Let's
your
see,
foot
is there
off
like
the
an
pedal.
adjustment?
Oh, that's like clapped out, that's why.
Rough. You want to try riding it?
Sure.
It's so tippy.
That pipe is kind of insane.
Oh, you're not gonna be able to kick it over.
Yeah, no way.
Not with flip flops on.
I mean, you probably could. The classic flip flops.
Just a tad bit of compression. Wow, holy cow. Almost tipped it over right there. Maybe Chuck will do a wheelie on it. We will see. There he is. Supposedly these are really easy to wheelie. I gotta try it.
So hard to turn.
Yeah, I know. Get your leg on the pipe. What do you think of it?
My legs are actually like sore from trying to turn it.
Yeah, it does not turn. Well, feel the tires once.
Are they like rocks?
No, they're like really,
Oh.
really flat. I thought it was flat, wasn't it? Oh, maybe not too bad. Yeah, it's really bad at turning.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean, kind of expected.
Yeah, that's why they're.
You gotta drift around the corner.
Yeah,
Get the back end.
I think the tires are too grippy. You need some bald ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first ride on the 350X. Charlie liked it, I liked it. More to come on this thing. Maybe a 400EX race. We will see.
I think it's the most powerful three-wheeler you've had.
More than the 250R, you think?
Well, like in the wheelie sense.
Yeah, I think like
more
torquiness.
top-end power.
I think torquiness is like the most
Yeah.
powerful. It reminds me a lot of the 400EX actually.
Yeah, it's like the same thing.
Yeah. So, stay tuned for next video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. For $1,000, we got this thing running. Well, actually, what I put into 1,000 plus 140 for the clutch, plus 30 bucks for the chain, or 40 bucks for the chain. What is it? Almost 1,200. And then I bought the shrouds for it that got delivered to a different address. So that was exciting.
Oh, nice.
I spent, I think, 50 bucks on those. So right around $1,250 for the whole thing.
Mosquitoes.
But yeah, it runs pretty good. It's popping a little bit, so once I get that air filter on there, it'll run a lot better. Yeah, anyway guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Anything to add?
Nope.
Nothing?
Mosquitoes are bad. I know that.
Until next time, we are out.